Okay. Setting everything up. Yeah, just got a bunch of commissions to work on, so I decided to turn on the stream for a bit. This one's an original character, they're both going to be. The other one's an RPG commission. Because this is well on the way, I'll probably be done with it within the stream time. Yeah, just wanted to do a chill stream, not really necessarily that high energy. I've been thinking maybe by being a little bit quieter moods, like I'll have the energy to just turn on the stream more. Otherwise some days, you know, you just work a bunch and you're not necessarily, you don't feel like you have the energy to be that animated. There are a lot of artists that I like to turn on the stream sometimes, and it's a bit quieter, more just hanging out, listening to some music. Might just try that approach. There's a bit of a redesign of an original character. I have the original here, let me pull it up real quick. Here he is, and get the line out of the way. Here he is, it was more cartoony, and they wanted some other changes. So, in like a more anime style, so here he is. I was talking about Celeste the other day. I recently just finished that. I mean, there are a bunch of levels to which you can finish Celeste, but I did like all the B-sides, all the Crystal Hearts, and then the Moon level. Just kind of the last, as far as I know, the last like full level. But after that they do give you C-sides and some extra stuff to find on levels, I guess. So someday I'll probably go back to it, but yeah. And I think it was Neon talking about like how much community deaths they got on the last level, and I remember what they said. I think I wasn't quite as much, but I did get a crap ton of deaths there as well, because it's just super long, the areas. Like it's super long and the final area is absurd. It's so long. It's not even like no tricks are that hard, it's just really long. So I had like 6,000 deaths total in the game, but over 2,000 were in the last level. Because of how long it is and how far back it sends you every time you fail. This square isn't really right. I'm going to, like, perspective wise it doesn't work. Let me mess with it a bit. Doesn't look like it's on the surface that it is. Might as well redraw it. I feel like this music's a little bit downbeat. Let me get Something that maybe fits his style a little bit more. It's Double Dragon Neon sound check. This character needs something a little bit more animated. He was pretty good. I don't like the graphics and the visual style as much, but I enjoyed it. I like beat 'em ups. It's kind of mindless, I guess, but it's just a relaxing kind of game. Maybe like more modern, younger gamers that didn't grow up with beat 'em ups, like I would get if they thought it was kind of a shallow style. Because it is. So I'm not sure how many lines I'm going to use and how much just going to be shading. I'm going to leave, you know, this to just be shading. Hey, what's up, Orlek? Drawing some OC commissions. He's a robot, kind of greaser guy. Yeah, almost done with this one. After that is an RPG commission of... She's going to have two forms. I'm doing the first form first. This is like a succubus that has like a disguised human form, which is more of a witch. I don't remember what wood they use, apothecary, I guess, just like a potion maker, I believe. A bit low, I guess it is. Looking super cool, thanks. Yeah, I had, let me show you. This is original design, that was more cartoony, kind of exaggerated. They asked for a redesign for a more anime style. Gave some influences, characters they wanted him to be reminiscent of. And yeah, we settled on this design and I'm doing the final art. I'm getting some cool commissions this wave. Looks great, lots of Frankie vibes. Yeah, I said that when when they gave me the design originally. They didn't say what characters it was based on. and I sent something similar to this, and I said like that I wanted to change him a little bit more because making him anime and like they wanted the chin to not be as over the top. So I basically did that, and I was like, oh, this guy looks like a One Piece character. I don't really watch One Piece. I have a friend who likes it, and I also, you know, just cultural osmosis. One Piece is pretty popular. You see the characters around. I was like, this looks like a character. So I just googled like One Piece character Pompadour, which is like the hair. There were actually multiple characters, but I found the one I was looking for, and yeah, it was Frankie. Even like the original, if you look, he has more of like the Donkey Kong or Popeye arms, whereas they're really big around the forearms. So I wanted to tone that down at least, not to give him the same proportions, because I thought it was a little too close to him. Don't want, you know. Kinda sucks when people have characters and like the first thing the first comment you get on your character is, oh, it looks like that character. People sometimes joke about how easily that happens, like even if the character doesn't really look that much like whatever character they're saying. So especially like if it was like that close, then everybody would just be talking about how it looks like this One Piece character. But they were cool with it. They didn't want some changes that I had in mind to make him look less like him. They were kind of cool with them looking similar. So yeah, I mean, you gotta go for whatever people want. If they don't mind, then good for them. I'm going to look into, like, this next commission that I'm going to do. The references they gave me were two adoptables that they got. They're kind of combining into one character to play on D&D. So I've been thinking about doing adoptables. It sounds like a fun thing to do. Originally I only knew about it in like the furry scene, which I don't really do. Like, it's not my niche, so I didn't know there was that much of a market, but maybe there is, and it makes sense that there would be for like RPG, like player characters for RPG and all that. And that would be a lot of fun to do, to get to just do a bunch of character designs and, you know, possibly sell them off to, you know, justify the time investment. That'd be cool, because I really like doing, like, my favorite part of D&D is coming up with characters. So I could come up with characters and let other people play them. This song has lyrics, but I figure volume-wise should be fine. Tell me if it's kinda disorienting having two voices. I could actually be playing this from my computer because I do have the soundtrack. It's pretty good. I'm really procrastinating on the arms because they're going to be the most annoying part to do. I think I'm going to do his Ryu sleeves. Maybe a little bit lower would be better, but I can hear and understand you with no problem. Okay. I can just lower the desktop audio. It should be fine. By the way, I don't remember who asked, but I lowered the bitrate, or rather the FPS. I'm at 30 FPS now, so hopefully this stream, since last stream actually, hopefully this stream is more like reliable, like easier to download for people. It doesn't stutter now, because I have this problem a lot of streams stutter for me. And I used to have like the option to change volume, but then I didn't, but then I did again. Steam is really weird. Twitch. It's really weird about that. They keep giving you and taking away the quality option. I don't know if it's because like my average viewers went down, but I think I don't have it anymore now. So yeah. Yeah, I just when I was on Twitter right now, I was just liking some of your art. You really like your output is so pretty fast. I don't know how you get so much art done. It was pretty good for drawings, perfect at least. I don't remember what I was talking about that could be in relation to. Sorry, kinda brain fart, I guess. Oh man, this song is really. Maybe let's skip this one, it's a bit much. Probably like a boss fight team. The instrumentation kind of sounds like Turtles in Time sometimes, which was a pretty good soundtrack. The bitrate, oh okay. I have a backlog of it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I figured there's really not that much reason to be at 60 when you're drawing. I actually don't watch that many gaming streamers, but when I do, the bitrate kind of weirds me out because I'm used to seeing it on YouTube, where it's, I think now it can be 60 FPS, but I'm pretty sure people still do it at 30. But anyway, it feels like you're running the game. It's weird. Your brain is like, this is a game happening right now. It's not a video of a game. Because that's usually only when you see 60 FPS. So yeah, others leave or elect thereof. Honestly, 60 FPS still feels weird for me. It's just very old YouTube and low resolution. No, just use very old. Yeah, doesn't it? Like, is it now 60 FPS on YouTube? It's been a while since I watched gameplay, I guess, even on YouTube. But I used to watch like Game Grumps and stuff, and it was always very much 30 FPS because like, it doesn't really bother you. It's just sometimes there are weird artifacts, like if a character in an old game was blinking, like when you take damage. Most old school games just have the character like appearing in alternate frames, which means that if you then lower it to 30 FPS, the character will either not seem to be blinking at all or just disappear for a while, depending on what frame he kinda cuts out. So the character will just go invisible. Some people were really surprised that old games run at 60 FPS, but pretty much they all do. Like before 3D, I don't know any games that weren't 60 FPS, like NES pretty much all 60 FPS. Like the animations weren't 60 FPS because they didn't have the memory to have all those animations available, like all those frames available for every animation, so they used, because you need the tile set loaded, so they use fewer frames, but the game itself runs at 60. Like if you make games at all, like I used to make games on Game Maker when I was younger, you really miss those frames. Just to program any kind of physics, you really want that many frames usually for stuff to work smoothly. Although in the low res, then there's other problems. When like 1 FPS, like Mario runs, or even walks, walks and even runs like at less than 1 pixel per frame, right? Because that would be crazy fast. There would be like 2 blocks almost in 1 frame. So that means that he needs to have a sub-pixel position that the game keeps track of without actually placing his sprite between pixels. So you need to keep track of like both of those variables separately to keep track of where you are. Because if you can only be right on top of a pixel, then that kind of messes up your movement. Hey yo, what's up Neon? Almost done with an OC commission. Then we have an RPG one. Don't worry about the MCA, this is a game soundtrack. It just happens to have lyrics. About 5 months ago. What about 5 months ago? What's up? I don't know if that's like the beginning of a story or if we're entering something. Anyway, 5 months ago. To go, alright. And I just get a commission from you. What do you mean by that? Is that how long it was going to take to save money for a commission? I got a comment, which I don't know if it was a kid or something. I assume it was like a kid. They commented on my commissions post with like the pricing and all, and asked like, do we have to pay for commissions? And I was like, I mean, yeah, that's what commissions. They wouldn't really be commissions, right? If you didn't have to pay for it. Although, I mean, you don't have to pay for commissions, you can just not get one, but yeah, kinda have to pay for commissions. I wasn't sassy, I just said yes. But it's a weird thing that people ask. Like, it's a thing with prices there. They're like, can I not pay the price for the thing that's for sale? Nah. Not really. Probably should pay. because that's when my parents allow me to will allow them to make a PayPal. Oh, if I make it before, I'll be assassinated or something. I don't know. Okay, well, that sucks. Speaking of games, well, yeah, I'm thinking, are there ways to have a PayPal without a bank account? I don't know if you have a bank account. But yeah. Speaking of games, I fixed the problems that we encountered on my project. Oh, cool. The same day. Oh, nice. But I haven't been able to tell you before. Oh, that's cool. Congrats. What were they? I remember the arrow that's supposed to show the character would fly off in a weird direction whenever you went into one of the cinematic cameras locations. What else? If I ever ask for a free commission, it would be something like this. Can you draw me a commission? I'll pay good with no money at all. All you have to do is draw nothing. Yeah, I mean, pretty much, I guess. Fair trade, equivalent exchange. Like, I'm even fine with art trades. I've done one. Like, it wasn't quite an art trade. It was kind of weird. Like, the person like develops Mega Man bosses, and they're like, "Hey, wanna make a? If you draw my character in the Mega Man style, I'll make a Mega Man boss for you." And I'm like, "Cool." Make Monsters High X, which was what I asked for, which like the final phase of Psyx Infusion. But yeah, art trades are fine, I guess. If it's not like something huge, I kind of can't afford to do something that's going to be like all day for that, because, you know, thing is, most of the time artists couldn't afford art. Like, you know, most people can't afford the product of their own work, not on a regular basis anyway. You know, if it's something kind of necessary like art, you're usually selling it for people who have more disposable income than you. Which in my case is not necessarily people that are that much better off than me, simply because I benefit from just exchange rates. Like, if you make minimum wage in dollars in the United States, you'd be pretty well off in Brazil. People actually do that. Sometimes people like retire or something in the US and move to Brazil because their US retirement is a lot of money here. Like, you can buy a lot more here than in the US with the same amount of dollars. Just because that's how exchanges in the economy work. A dollar buys more stuff in a developing country than in a developed country. There's a single artist where I can imagine getting their usual two-color background. Sorry, what? Where I can imagine getting their usual two-colored background. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it would be too mean, but I'd like to make them wait 2 weeks for their free commission. And then just give the white canvas to me. Yeah, I'd feel kind of mean about that, because I kind of assume these are just very young people mostly. I don't know, I just feel like that's kids. That's what I would want if I ask for a free commission, yeah. I don't know, dude. Also, you know, some people do requests, some people who are just drawing for fun, but then I don't think it's called a commission. I'm pretty sure a commission implies that it's paid. That if it's a request, it's just a request. But actually, I haven't had that much trouble when I got into this, I thought I would get more people asking for free art because it's such a meme on the internet. People wanting you to work either for free or for exposure, which is, you know, also for free. But I didn't get that much of that. Referring to that, and there's a single. It's like, sorry, I'm not sure. If I would ask them for a free commission, I feel like they would literally just slap 2 colors on a canvas and call it quits. Oh, okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah, I think, I don't know, people sometimes don't see it as work. Because, you know, if you do art, you probably at some point did it as a hobby, you did it because you enjoyed it, so you were effectively doing it for free. But if you're going to do it as a profession, you know, your time is money. Even if you would enjoy drawing whatever they asked you to draw, which you probably wouldn't, you enjoy drawing what you want to draw. Even if you enjoyed it, you would be paying for that enjoyment, basically. Like, whenever you draw something for yourself, you're effectively buying a commission for yourself, because you probably could be doing a commission in that time. And I really can't afford to buy that many of my own commissions. I really don't, you know, I don't draw anything just because I want to draw anymore. It's either commissions or it's something that I feel would help, you know, grow my reach, social media, all that. I try to, you know, make that also something that I enjoy doing. I don't hate drawing the things that I draw. I try to meet in the middle there. But, you know, it's never just whatever I wanted to draw. If I was just drawing what I wanted to draw, I'd probably be doing a lot, you know, more original stuff. Not so much fan art. But fan art is what gets you reach. It's just the ecosystem. So then, you know, I do fan art for stuff that I like to draw, and I try to have ideas that I think are actually cool, but it's not like it's my first choice. And that's the same for pretty much every artist that you see on the internet. The best argument against art should not be paid for, it's not hard, is there will never be a why don't you just do it yourself, it's not hard, yeah. Or like you did it fast, like, have you ever gone to the doctor? You spend like 5 minutes with them and it's ridiculously expensive. Either, you know, if you're paying out of pocket or because it's part of your, you know, health plan, whatever. Like if you go to a private doctor, it's absurdly expensive. And it takes them no time and no work. It's because they have the ability to do that, even if it's just because they have a degree and not necessarily knowledge, but you know, so you're going to charge what you can charge for that. At least a friend of mine asked me, so aside from that book series you're working on, do you have a real job? I mean, yeah, that's not the nicest way to put that. I kind of joke around sometimes in referring to like art and my grown-up job or something, but it's, you know, just a joke. Because I'm doing kind of silly stuff sometimes with art. But it is just as much as a job as my other job. I do enjoy doing it more. The real job can be quite offensive, and I understand that from a friend. Yeah, I mean, yeah, doesn't come across well. I don't know if it was kind of meant as a joke, but you have to be pretty comfortable with somebody to say that as a joke. Uh, and assume that they're going to understand that you don't mean it or whatever. It's not the nicest. And, there aren't a lot of real jobs left. Real jobs are all getting automated. We're going to be doing more and more superfluous things over time. Because jobs don't really disappear when they get automated. It wasn't long ago that I saw an economist say that flat out there has not yet been an economy that net lost jobs because of automation. And it's basically because that you're still creating as much or more value from a certain task when you automate it, so that money is in the economy. And that extra money in the economy generates demands for more, superfluous things as people spend that money. Problem is that now jobs are all kind of unnecessary and you have no bargaining power because you're doing superfluous stuff that's going to disappear. My art job, if the economy goes south and people don't have disposable income, literally nobody wants it. And I don't work for anybody, so I have no labor rights. There's no ability to organize. So the problem is less no jobs and more weird, small, unnecessary gig jobs that don't really give you stability and make you disposable in general. Yay. Frankie, yeah, the character is very based as an original character by somebody, but one of their main inspirations is Frankie from One Piece, yeah. Oh yeah, he wasn't joking, he was not a very ignorant tone, yeah, that sucks. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, both my jobs are how do you say it? I'm self-employed, and it's not like a paycheck. I get paid based on work. There's good and bad sides. It would be nice to have, to be sure you have a certain amount of money at the end of each month. That's rarer and rarer. BRB, I'll go make some coffee. Go for it. Did I forget my tea or did I finish? I totally forgot it. I always do downstream. I make tea and then I let it become cold. That song's really going hard. Probably another boss. It's been a while since I played it. But again, pretty good game. Double Dragon Neon, by the way. The people coming in. I like Way Forward. There's going to be River City Girls 2 soon, but I probably won't be able to play it for a while because even River City Girls 1 is actually pretty expensive for the kind of game it is on Steam. I still gotta play actually before that Streets of Rage, the new one. People say it's really good. Still hasn't been like on 75 or more % off, which is basically when I buy games on Steam. Which is fine, you know, I have plenty stockpiled. I really don't know how there's even a console market in Brazil, considering how much cheaper games are on Steam. Console games nowadays just don't go down in price. And in Steam you can, you know, they go down over time and you can buy stuff. You can just buy stuff that's 75 or more % off and you still have a pretty decent selection. You can just put it on your wish list and they'll tell you when it's off and then you just buy them for a fraction of the price. Like, it's just such a better deal. It's a much better platform. I actually really don't have any problems with Steam. You know, at a time where pretty much every tech company is just being awful all the time and every new change they announce is more a threat than a promise. It's like, good news, our product is going to get worse now. Like, cool, thanks. Seems pretty good. I don't really have that many problems with them. They even banned NFTs on their games preemptively. Why do some artists just think clothes just from around the body? Like, doesn't work that way. Just form around the body. Oh, stylization. Like, clothes being like completely skin tight and when they had no reason to be. Like, yeah, that's... It's like superhero characters are basically naked. It makes no sense. Like, Wolverine will like do an angry Wolverine face, like, I'm a bub. And his neck would be like, here not only there's like all the little muscles and stuff, but like his veins would be visible through the leotards. Like, everybody knows that that's completely impossible, but he's just kind of symbolically naked, you know. You're not even supposed to think of that as clothes. It's just like just how he looks. That's just his body. Yeah, pretty much. So there's a thing. There's actually a thing even in classical, just not really classical, more Renaissance paintings. There's like dudes that's like, why is this dude's torso like silver? And it's because it was like a Roman soldier with those like muscle armors, but they can be like in a really contorted position like this. Like, you know, those armor, they kind of look like muscles and then they have like the cape here and whatever. They could be in a really like contorted position or whatever, and the armor would like distort like it was flesh. So there's like kind of a really old thing in ways. People want to draw characters who are dressed, but they want to still have like anatomy. super visible. Like, it doesn't matter how material is just too tight, just every detail on their body. Yeah, like they say, like, but selectively as well, because like superheroes don't have belly bottoms and they don't have. Usually they don't have nipples, especially the women, because there will probably be a problem with ratings, female presenting nipples and all that. But still, that is completely goes into every crevice of their body for no reason. Like, that's not how elastic works. It wants to be smaller. It doesn't want to go inwards. Method of mean exchange. Yeah, maybe it was like nanomachines or something. The Romans had alien tech. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's, not trying to be realistic. It's stylization. Like, it's a mistake. Some people do that like unintentionally. Like, people who are really new to art. Like, the main thing is boobs. People will just way over exaggerate what will just hug the form when there's like no reason for it. Like, they're just using a t-shirt and it goes like all around. Like, nah. One thing there, let me pull it up. Don't worry, it won't be like too horny. What's the name? Doki Doki Literature Club always bothered me about this. If you know, it's like the game that kind of poses as a dating sim, but it's actually a horror game. Where is some? I just want the characters standing around here. Get a screenshot. Like, it looks like this is just no. These are jackets. Come on. Is a jacket over a vest over a shirt? What's happening? Did they staple it? Like, that just kind of looks distracting because it's not really in the style, right? It's not like super abstracted and idealized like a superhero thing. It's really just their boobs. The rest, it just kind of looks like a normal jacket. So yeah, that's kind of. But it's more a question of not fitting the art style than, it's not realistic. They still like Colin Freeman being okay with me. Edge, but it's okay, but I understand it. Yeah, it bothers me more, like, it's clearly like not the most egregious example. Like, people talk about boob socks, which is like what can I reply? Like, sometimes when it looks like if the one took off the t-shirt, it would have to like look like this, even outside someone's body, for it to like hug around. Like, it had to have like elastic around here. But yeah. But this guy, like, he's super muscular and stuff, so the shirts. So actually, this one isn't really even that outside what the fabric would actually do, because it's clearly like a couple of sizes too small for him. But it's just, pulling in this direction. It's not like when you have pecs as well, and like this part in between them, the clothes is pushing in because it has no reason to push him this way. But tightening around like this is what it would actually do if you buttoned it. So, well, I'll just do this arm. But I don't know, what I always say is there really isn't that much right or wrong in art. You just have to accomplish what you're going for. There really aren't a lot of things that I would just say just never do this. You just have to do things intentionally. You have to do things because they complement and work with what you're going for. I draw so much mechanical stuff and it's such a pain. Flesh and fabric are so much easier because they don't have to make like this perfect geometrical sense and have a bunch of forms click perfectly. But this is the niche that I have made for myself. It's all Metroid's fault, really. Alright. Vista. It's going to be a pain. Then right now I'm deciding how I'm going to draw like the whatchamacallem, I don't know what to call it, but where he has joints, there's like the soft part so he can articulate. This is more of a, there's an elbow pad here. There we go. And this I think I'll just do like this. This pointier works best for his art style. I went pointy with the folds in the t-shirt as well. And we'll figure the rest out in coloring. Okie doke. It was raining here before. Now I have rain sounds, but it was raining for real here, and by here I mean inside my office, because my roof is old and very bad and I keep fixing it, and then what do you call those in English? Holes in your roof that water goes through. Leaks? Is it just leaks? I'm not sure. No, there's some stuff from language to language that, sometimes it's just the same word, sometimes it has a specific word. Like in Portuguese, stairs and ladders have the same word for them. We just think of those as the same thing. And I find the difference in English is kind of weird. Because I would understand if you called something that goes like this and something that goes like this different. Like one of them you climb by walking, the other one you need your hands and your feet. One is vertical and one's diagonal. But you can have one of these, and the only difference is like that you set it up instead of it being part of a building. And then it's already a ladder. Then it's the same thing as this, and not the same thing as this, but in a building. That's a weird division. There should be stairs as well, and these should be the only ladders. Otherwise I don't understand the distinction you're trying to draw. Okay, enough procrastinating. I'll just go for it. Now actually, maybe with the pen tool I can do this in a separate layer in a more streamlined way to where I'm sure the geometry makes sense. Okay, boop, and then we'll do another one up here. This one gets to be a little bit more angled, and boop. Another thing that I had meant to look into was Twitter Spaces. Still haven't used Twitter Spaces. Are they just text or are they speech? I don't even know that much. I think if they were speech, I could make that available during stream maybe, and people could like say things and I could just hear. Although I couldn't really broadcast people because then they can come in and just say anything. I just have to be able to hear them or whatever. Because you have to have a Twitch to like talk in chat. So I was thinking maybe, you know, most of the people who follow me on Twitter probably don't have Twitch. That could be a way for them to also say something. But keeping my eyes on like both a text and probably wouldn't work. Have to check it out though. How am I going to do this now? I'll just draw from end to end and then adjust it, because it has like these things projecting out of it. It's a very 007 kind of song, very simple. I remember this in Neon, alright. Feels like an opening to a 007 movie. So yeah, here you go. Now I just have to do this for all of them. Great. This doesn't even look that good. It's fine. I'll just do on both ends, so then I can do the other ones kinda guided by them. So like doing the first and the last frame of an animation, then doing the in-betweens. It's weird because diagonal, but it is, you know, kind of facing you less, so it should become less diagonal. So I hope this is making sense. You know, because kind of flattening in the horizontal direction, if that makes sense. And this one shows the least. It's getting really high energy now. Probably less level stuff. Oh, Neon, you were the one talking about Celeste the other day, right? Like that you... I guess it was several people talking. The other day, yeah, that's... I think that just means another day, right? Even if it was a while ago. Anyway. Yeah, I finally like finished Celeste in that I beat the moon level. When you do all the crystal hearts and the B-sides, and then you can do the moon level. Then there's the C-sides, but I'm not going for that yet. And yeah, I got a crap ton of deaths. I don't remember how many you had, but I got over 2,000 deaths on the last level because it's so absurdly long. Like, it's way longer than all the others. Which was like over a third of my overall deaths in the game. Last level was crazy. It is a fun game. I'm sure they're working on something else, so this has been a while. But I don't even know. Because I also really like Towerfall. I used to play that a lot in college. My friends. It's a good versus game. Single player is also fine, but it's mostly a versus game. And I don't know of them even having announced anything else. But if you ever feel like doing something but feel like doing something different at the same time, and instead of deciding what you do, you just do nothing, I guess. This is like the ending credits. So probably the last track, and I'm going to have to get something else. As usual, I'm taking way longer than I thought. in part because you do slow down a little bit when you get on stream. I mean, yeah, looks fine. Just now for this one, let's do something a bit different. What's this OST from? It's Double Dragon Neon by Way Forwards. It's a pretty good game. And there's a pretty good soundtrack as well. Neon, yep. Yep. Way Forwards is a good studio. Like, they don't do anything like crazy innovative or anything, but they tend to do a good job. I played Mummy Remastered recently, and again, like, it's just pretty well done. It's like a standard take on Metroidvania. It's pretty short. And basically, it's not a AAA game or anything. The idea is being pretty simple, but it's just well done and fun. So, oh, there is more songs. But it's probably some like leftover stuff now, like menu music. I'll switch over to River City Girls. Although the butt rock opening is probably a bit distracting. There you go. I feel it's a little lower than. But again, this is also by Way Forwards. I like Kunio-kun games in general, and this one's really good. I'm glad they're doing another one. They do the same thing with some of the songs. Some of the level songs have lyrics, most of them don't. There's actually an in-universe band that plays a bunch of the songs. I want to play the first Shantae and Mighty Switch Force. Yeah, I haven't played Mighty Switch Force, but yeah, the first Shantae on Game Boy Color was pretty cool. Very good use of the hardware. Probably the most impressive Game Boy Color game I've seen. Oh, I'm not going to do this yet. First, but yeah, Shantae is kind of their more famous game, and again, like, it's fine, it's well done, but I don't think like it's their best work necessarily. Having a weird time here. Now this is with white. What am I doing? Oh, screw it. I'm just going to erase it and redraw it. I feel they probably had a lot of the same people working on the soundtracks. Have you ever played Rare games? Of course. I grew up with like Super Nintendo and N64. Because again, I feel like I mentioned this before, but in Brazil, we used to be more behind in terms of, you know, what consoles and stuff we had. And throughout like my youth, we caught up. So I kind of had more accelerated, like in the US, I wouldn't have be old enough to have really lived the SNES era, but I did here. It just kind of went in an accelerated way. So yeah, I had the SNES and the N64. So yeah, plenty of Rare games. Great soundtracks too. Same here, yeah. I think so. Nowadays we're in sync, but used to be a bit behind. So yeah, of course, grew up with Donkey Kong Country. Then of course, Banjo-Kazooie, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Conker. All the prerequisites. You really can't overstate how big a deal Rare was in like the Nintendo fandom of the time. Between the like Super Nintendo and 64 era, Rare was just thought of as like Nintendo as well. People wanted not only Banjo-Kazooie, but James Bond in Smash Bros. Which kind of makes some sense that people thought about that, of course, kids, because, you know, of course, license-wise, it was never gonna happen. But the proximity mines in the original Smash Bros. Are 100% the ones from GoldenEye. And in Melee, they are the ones from Perfect Dark. And there's also the stealth device from Perfect Dark. So they made like references to Rare stuff. They just didn't say the name because, you know, they didn't really have a deal for that. Even before, because it was after Melee that Rare stopped being a second party dev for Nintendo and went to Microsoft to never make a good game again, as far as I know. Oh, you played more than me? Haven't played Perfect Dark or GoldenEye. Well, certainly not worth coming back to them now. They have not aged super well. FPSs are a genre that evolved a lot, especially on console since those days. Especially GoldenEye, wow, that didn't age. Like the multiplayer, which is what people played most. It's so barren and kind of clunky and mindless. It's just not a good versus game. But it was a huge deal at its time. yeah, Rare was huge. Conquer was also a great multiplayer game. I feel like that doesn't get talked about enough. Maybe it's again like in the US, maybe it didn't get as much time to be played because people were already moving on to the next gen. It was kind of late on 64. But it's such a fun multiplayer game. They had a bunch of modes and they're all like funny. They're not like, it's not a competitive, serious game. Like the multiplayer modes are completely unbalanced on purpose, just to be silly. It's fun. Then there's one that's dinosaurs versus cavemen. The dinosaurs can just one-shot the cavemen, and you get 1 point for that. The cavemen have to go all the way into the dinosaur's base, steal another egg, and go all the way back to their base and put them in a frying pan to get the same 1 point. It's just basically completely ridiculous. There's another one that's about immigrating. You're a bunch of like ambiguously East European squirrels, and you're trying to immigrate into the United States, and the other team are the United States Border Patrol, and they just walk around this huge wall that has some turrets on it, trying to get the a good angle to shoot down the immigrants before they can cross the border. And then there's like a more straightforward kind of war game. There's like squirrel soldiers versus teddy bears. Evil teddy bears. With yellow blood for some reason. Goopy yellow blood. Yeah, I just remember I just mentioned the yellow blood and remember that you don't like the goopy effects from Conquer. Oh yeah, also Rare. There's also Turok. Turok 1 just barely functions and looks like it's fully a generation old for the N64. It looks like it should be on like the fucking, what is it called, the Atari Jaguar or something. I am Turok. Okay. Yeah, but Turok 2 was a lot better. They really got their shit together and that was a more fun multiplayer. Again, I'm sure it aged terribly, but for the time. Yeah, that was pretty good. I heard mixed things about Yooka-Laylee, which is the game that the developers of Banjo-Kazooie, etc. went on to make. Like, it was like a Kickstarter game, I think, which is never a good sign. I mean, there are good Kickstarter games. Pathfinder, which I'm currently playing, was a Kickstarter game. I feel like the music's a little bit loud sometimes, just gonna skip this track. And this is a long one. Alright. Never played Turok, but that line is stuck in my memory. Yeah, I mean the original one is kind of funny bad. It's just such a mess. This is very poorly optimized, I guess, because the N64 could do a lot better than that. It looked pretty terrible, and even so, the draw distance was nothing. Like they had this fog that was like seriously 5 meters ahead of your nose at any time, and yet you're walking on a completely flat ground with flat walls. Like GoldenEye was not like an impressive game, but it looks so much better than Turok. Yeah, I used to have Turok, but I sold it, I'm pretty sure. I still have a bunch, I'd say most of my N64 games. It was mostly Super Nintendo stuff that I sold. I heard that you can glitch the game by moving the cartridge. You can glitch a lot of cartridge-based games by angling the cartridge. So I'd certainly not be surprised. I started reading that comment, and you could have said glitch the game by blank anything, and I would have believed you. Need one of those games where you can literally just walk into walls and kind of wiggle and you'll go through them. I wouldn't be surprised. There's so many games. I don't know how people don't seem to test games that well. Like, I saw a thing a while back from GameChamp 3K. It's like a streamer and posts the stuff here on YouTube. Like mostly YouTube, the streams are just her making the games, making the videos. But they had an Uncharted thing that was like Uncharted with minimum shots or whatever. And you can just go through pretty much any wall in Uncharted, which is a huge AAA game, by walking sideways into the wall while mashing really quickly like the aim button, the button that you go over the sights like behind the back and the Resident Evil 4 style. You can just go back and forth from like aim mode real fast while walking sideways through a wall, and you just go through any wall in the game. I'm always surprised how people don't find that. Because that's a classic way of glitching into walls. You'd think any AAA game would try that before launch nowadays, but well. I guess that player base can put so much more hours into a game than testers can reasonably do. But I'm still kind of impressed. Like, Metroid Dread had so many glitches week 1. Like, big glitches. Like, one of the first items in Dread is something that where you charge your beam and hits a wall, it kind of does a little 1 block wide explosion. So in the game there are a lot of these blocks that detonate everything around them. They're just 1 block deep. So you're supposed to shoot with this power up. So they're supposed to require this power up, really early one. And you can just kind of jump into the wall. Just kind of ram Samus into the wall, extend her arm and shoot and get the edge of those blocks. You don't need the power ups, completely unnecessary. If you just get like the right movement into it, which is kind of surprising. I'm also always surprised by how few fail safes they put in that kind of stuff. Like old school games, so many of the speedruns, like the glitch speedruns, are based on somehow clipping through something that's like physically obstructing like a door to the next level. Like there's a door, and of course the next level isn't loaded behind the door. This is just a thing that you collide with the inside of the door and it loads the next level. And then the game will like physically put a barrier in front of it, like Donkey Kong 64 does this. They have these things that ask you for a certain amount of the collectibles before they'll get out of the way. It's literally like it's a rare game, so of course like a door with eyes or like a board with eyes. But you can clip through it by lagging the game, which makes like the real speed of your character be faster, which means that you can go all the way through it in one frame. Anyway, you can clip through them, and then you go to the next area. Why, when they put the wall, don't they just deactivate the loading zone as well? It's one variable. I'm always surprised by that, by how like fair they play. That the loading zones are always there when you haven't done the prerequisites. Like put the thing, but also deactivate the loading zone. So one of those things, like in Samus Returns, there are these little platform things like on the elevator, and then you can turn into a ball and kind of wiggle back and forth on the edge of it. And if you do that, it's possible, like eventually you just clip through and go through the ground. And then players will go through the ground a bunch, and like you're here in the map, and then there's another room here, and you actually go through and you can like spawn in the other room. I'm always so surprised that they don't do fail safes. Like if Samus's Y position is outside one of the allowed rooms that she's supposed to be in, they could just kill you, just respawn you in your last checkpoint or something. Because there's no situation where it's okay for that to happen. Like why not just reset her placing, like just reload the room, restart it where you were, or something like that. It always feels like there were really simple fail safes that they just don't put, they just trust that the game is rock solid. Have you seen the test explained of DK64? I've seen explanations of the speedrunning, not really tests. Like I know about lagging the game with oranges to increase DK's real speed, which is a common thing in rarer games. There's a thing in GoldenEye as well. You can kind of clip through doors faster. Like you have to wait for the door to open less if the game is lagging at a moment, so people switch weapons while they're pushing their way through doors that are currently opening because they'll lags it for a second, and the game compensates. They want to keep the speed that you see the character moving on consistent, so if the game is running slow, the character becomes like literally faster within the logic of the game. So they use that to kind of push their way through a collision. So yeah, there's a thing in Donkey Kong as well. That's one of the things I remember. I remember just kind of floating around. I don't remember what they do to really extend the jumping attack of Donkey Kong for him to just shoot into the air. But yeah, I've seen some techniques. I haven't seen the task though. It's probably like even crazier versions of those plus some other stuff, because in tasks you can do the craziest stuff ever. But I'm always surprised by the lack of failsafes. Although the failsafes can backfire, not really backfire, but be useful rather than a detriment for speedrunners. I saw recently, YouTube was really pushing it, so you guys might have seen it. There was a guy in the Hobbit community, like there's a GameCube PC game of the Hobbit that they released when like the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out, probably just to, you know, cash in on that. I don't think there was any affiliation. But anyway, there was a Hobbit game, like PS2 era. And that game has a thing where if you become stuck in geometry, the game will warp you back to the last place where you stood on the ground for like a full second or something, because they want to make sure there is like a stable place where you're definitely not stuck. So people cut, like that becomes a shortcut, because at any point in the game you can basically set a checkpoint that you can teleport back to as long as you can make it all the way to wherever you want to go by hopping. Because if you're just hopping as soon as you hit the ground, you never reset that flag. So all you need to do is be able to get there hopping and then become stuck somewhere around there, which, you know, not the best made game ever. It's fairly easy to get stuck. So that became like strategy in the game. You just hop around and then you set yourself a checkpoint and you get stuck in a wall and then bam, you're back. By the way, if you guys played Axiom Verge or have heard of it, it's a Metroidvania game made by one dude anyway. It's pretty good. Simple game, but pretty good. It has this thing where you can come back to save at any point. And it kind of creates a strategy. In a Metroidvania game, if you can go back to save at any point, it also means, and it does focus on like the speedrun side of it. It's very optimized for doing multiple runs and speedruns. It means the longer you go without saving and like recovering your life, which you do also in the save room, then the further of a checkpoint you can have, the further of a teleport. Because the game has no teleport system, I really respect that. I always respect that in a Metroidvania. When there is no fast travel and the game manages to not be like slow. It sounds kind of annoying. The game manages to not have a quick travel system like Symphony of the Night style and still never feels obnoxious to move through. That's really good. But then for speedrunning strats, you can think about, you know, you saves for that, but it's riskier also because then you don't recover health, and you know, if you theoretically died, you would lose all your progress, but then you can teleport across the stage if you go a long time without recovering health. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting mechanic. There's a popular glitch that lets you travel rooms in game's memory in Link's Awakening. Okay, I assume I know what you mean, like memory manipulation, wherein you're able to change the value that says what rooms you're going to by doing something else, and then it just loads the room you wanted, I assume. Which would be the same thing that you do in Ocarina of Time, so but the 90% of Ocarina of Time is based on memory manipulation. Pokemon Gen 1, of course, also has that. Every glitch in existence exists in Gen 1. There's also the Mewtwo glitch, which is also memory manipulation. You change another variable that's just in the same slot where what Pokemon you find, and then you go to a water tile or any wild tile without it filling back in, and then you just have whatever was in that memory that I believe was set just by the last trainer you encountered is what uses that. So the Mew glitch is actually a glitch that allows you to get any Pokemon. It's just used for Mew because it's a pain, and every other Pokemon can be acquired more easily than that. Unless you're doing like single cartridge. Yep. You know, I never played Link's Awakening. It was the first Game Boy game I saw. My cousin had a Game Boy, an original Game Boy. I never had it. I had a color. And he had it with Link's Awakening, so it was like the first portable game I ever saw. But I never actually played it. I forgot his second... What's this called? The hair going from the ear. I don't know. Sideburn? Is this still a sideburn? I'm not sure. Well, anyway. Yeah, just the one hand left. I do really like the soundtrack. I'll have it in my regular things to use on stream. Yeah, I think that's the name. I'm assuming you mean memory manipulation. I guess I didn't look at chat for a while. Those things can be kind of interesting, but I really don't find it that interesting to see the actual runs. Like it's interesting when it's like at GDQ and there's people explaining and like you're seeing it being done while you're having it explained to you. That's fun. Or like a video explaining how it works. That's fun. Thinking about like the investigation, the dissecting of the code that it took to arrive at those things, creating the strategies, but seeing sideburns, yeah, okay, right, yeah, forgot I said that. What was I saying? Yeah, seeing people actually performing runs that are really glitch dependent, I don't find very interesting at all, trying to perfect it. Like, I don't see that much point in perfecting it. Because at that point, you know, the community thing of getting the run really far down, okay, that's fun. Like breaking the game systems more and more as people discover new ways to manipulate it. That's a lot of fun. But just, you know, people, for a while it was a really popular category, people playing the glitch, you know, the any percent of Ocarina of Time, which is like literally half the time is watching cutscenes, and then it's glitches that at different points of the game's history were really inconsistent, so you'd have to reset immediately. Like, that just sounds like torture. And, you know, not that interesting of a thing to be the fastest best in the world at, you know, performing 3 glitches. Especially when you're basically, you know, rolling dice at some point. Kinda don't get it. In terms of like really competitive speedruns, it just seems a lot more interesting to play the ones where you actually get to play the game more and use the intentional mechanics. Or even just, you know, emergent mechanics that are still interesting to look at. Have you seen the infamous Tomba 2 speedrun? What is that? Is that the caveman game? Which is that? Yeah, I've seen a long time ago. I don't really remember what it consists of at this point. That's so weird. There's gotta be the same franchises like Joe and Mac, right? These cavemen with the colorful hair and these kind of, I don't know, kind of looks like them. There was a prequel, like one that came before Joe and Mac, where it was a blue hair anime caveman turned into a monkey when you lost health, which is weird. But it looks way too much like it not to be related. Gotta be. Who does this? I feel like Joe and Mac was Data East. This says Sony on the cover. I don't know. But yeah, I feel like I've seen that. In GDQ probably. But yeah, when it comes to glitch speedruns, I find like the science part of it, the people who are discovering the tricks, a lot more interesting than the people who make it a point to do the tricks as fast as possible. You know, when the tricks are stuff like memory manipulation and stuff like that. Any run, it must be so disheartening just to do any run that's really RNG dependent or luck dependent in general. Like nobody is consistent at doing a certain trick, even if it doesn't literally involve RNG. Like Flagplow glitching in Mario 1, like there's a version with a setup, but the task is faster because it does it without setup and it just lucks out because, you know, the tasker got to just try until they got it right. You know, when it pushed to the point where you have to be doing a strategy that you can't humanly make consistent at all, and you're losing most of your runs through no fault of your own, that must really suck. That needs to get super frustrating. There's a reason why I like Mario 64. I really feel like it's the best speedrun I've ever, like, that I'm aware of, is Mario 64, because it's all like movement and it's still so far from perfect. Especially 120 star, there's so much. Whenever you watch a world record, there's so many areas for improvement always. It's just because it's an analog game, so there's like infinite inputs that you can do in like a second. There's already like a bajillion possible versions of that, and where you can be at any given point. So not one of those things where everything's getting frame perfect, especially because it's like an hour long run. There's still improvement, but it's all skill, like there's basically no luck. Which, you know, I'm fine with luck that you can actually adapt to. The problem is when, you know, either you get this trick on the first shot, which you can't possibly have more than a 1 in 4 chance of getting, or you have to restart. Like that just kind of sucks. Breath of the Wild speedruns are kind of funny. Yeah, Breath of the Wild's a game that really lends itself to that, because they just gave you a bunch of mechanics and let them play out, so you can do some crazy stuff. And also, of course, there are glitches, like the way getting out of slow motion while getting a speed added to your Link's speed, like causes the speed to multiply a bunch, and you can just launch yourself. Of course, that's unintentional, but it's still fun. It's not the annoying type of unintentional where the run just becomes doing some really arbitrary glitches. You're still using the game physics, even if the game physics are fucked. But yeah, I like. And you know, Breath of the Wild is a very suited game for speedrunning because it intentionally doesn't force you to do anything past the tutorial. After that, you can just go to the boss if you wanna. Which I am so in favor of that design philosophy. Let people make their journey, play the amount of the game they wanna play. Like Ocarina of Time, loved it as a kid, just hasn't aged that well. It's way too restrictive. You have to do everything in the order they want you to. You discover new areas in the order they want you to. There's basically nothing to explore and do other than one of the 1 or 2 things that you're supposed to do now. And even if you do, like, you can get into the fire temple before the forest temple, but they immediately like, oh, you need arrows to get past to like the first room, and the arrows are in the forest temple. So yeah, okay, good. Game just guided you way too much back in that days. I like opening it. Also, like New Vegas is another great use of the thing where most of what you can do is optional. You just need to get to New Vegas basically, and you can reach unending. The thing is, by then they've introduced enough of the world to you that you can make informed choices about who you want to help, what you want to do. And for most of those, you're going to want to do a lot of other stuff around the world and discover more stuff. But again, almost no content in that game is obligatory beyond the very early tutorial, which is like 10 minutes. What's the current song? We're still in River City Girls. You just went very cheap tune for one level, but yeah. Again, great game. Now, how did I do his knuckles? The round. I always do the round knuckles in robots. Sounds very a lot because, you know, the sections of the game, like it's an open world game, like, you know, the original River City Ransom, you can always go back to the previous areas, but it is, you know, mainly a linear game, and it has like areas with themes, so this one being kinda spooky, the other one was very retro video gamey. It takes place in like whatever combination of the US and Japan Phoenix Wright happens in. The localized Phoenix Wright, of course. Because it doesn't really want to decide whether it's a sequel to River City Ransom or Kunio-kun. Like they use Riki and Kunio have their Japanese names and stuff, but they seem to not. They even joke about it in the dialogue, I'm pretty sure. The fact that they are not sure whether they're in Japan or the US. I did want Kunio in Smash Bros. I feel like I talked about like if I could just choose random characters, that's the kind of not likely character that I'd be wanting in the game. For like realistic choices, I wouldn't put it there. Not relevant enough. I did want Doom Guy though. He was robbed. But I guess people in like Japan especially, I don't know, really wanted Sora. But I don't know, Sora is not one of the ones that I am like, what is this character doing here? Not like Sephiroth, for example, there was already a Final Fantasy VII character. Even if you're going to do another Final Fantasy character for some reason, why another Final Fantasy VII character? Like, do one of the older Final Fantasies or something to be more... Yeah, lame. Also, as much as I like Fire Emblem, there are too many Fire Emblem characters. Chrom had no reason to be in the game. Like, I know it's a clone, it's a lot less work, but still. Also, you know, it's kind of a weird half clone of Roy that has nothing to do with him and was already a weird half clone himself. It's a bit of a mess. I think they added him just because, like, people asking for him back in Smash 4, but you know, by then Awakening was pretty old, nobody was that hyped for Chrom anymore or whatever. But there are 3 characters from Fire Emblem Awakening. One of the Fire Emblem games has 3 characters in Smash. Like, it was inevitably going to have 2 because they were committed to having every character ever, but they needed to add a 3rd one. I always forget that Chrom is in Smash. Yup, sounds about right, because he's the most unnecessary character in Ultimate. He's actually twice in Smash, because he's still Robin's final Smash. But Corrin a lot, I forget Corrin a lot, and Rosalina, I mean, yeah, I guess. Kinlaka, Rosalina not so much, but Corrin also, you know, a lot of Fire Emblem characters. But yeah, so some unnecessary ones there. And I feel like it's kinda... I'm not a huge fan of shooters, but I think it's weird with how much representation of like different sectors of gaming they seem to make a point to have in Ultimate, that there is no FPS character. It's kind of bizarre. Because it has been one of, if not the biggest like genre in gaming since the early 90s. And like Doomguy was such a perfect representative at that point, because, you know, Doom kind of popularized FPSs and is by the people who pretty much invented the genre, just with Wolf. And he recently, you know, became relevant again, and the Doom games are being really well liked and that. So it seems like a great choice. There are some choices then that I was kind of surprised by, like Banjo. I really didn't think it was gonna happen. Like that one's just for the boomers, right? Like the target audience, so Smash Bros has no idea what the hell is a Banjo. Like Rare's not even trying to make new Banjo games, are they? I don't think they did anything after Nuts and Bolts. I mean, did they do like a HD release of the original? Banjo's inclusion makes you so incredibly happy, but he kind of bad though. I mean, yeah, it's like fan service, which is what Smash Bros is. Like for a huge, like there are so many like of the older people who have been playing the game since Melee or whatever. They wanted him in Melee a lot. Like he was probably... Neon might not be old enough to remember like people speculating and making fake screenshots of like unlocking extra characters in Melee, because you start Melee and you have like 12 characters, and then there are 4, I believe, slots with like that make it clear that there's a secret character there, right? And that was the same thing in the original Smash. There were 4 like empty things that say there's a secret character here for you to unlock. Right. So you unlock those in Melee, and then you just keep unlocking characters, and you unlock like twice as many secrets that didn't have anything, that was just empty space, and they just appear. And you know, the internet was pretty primitive back then. Screenshot took like 5 minutes to load. So people kept making rumors because it seemed plausible that more and more characters would start appearing around the edges of the screen. So there were so many fake Banjo, fake Sonic and Tails, fake James Bond from 007, because that was still a thing. Screenshots of people kind of speculating and making rumors that if you did something, Smash also did like this really weird thing, like to unlock Luigi you need to beat a level in adventure mode at like the right millisecond, like there you need a 16 milliseconds or whatever, or tenths of seconds, whatever. There were a bunch of really arbitrary nonsense to unlock characters, so people just kept making rumors, kind of like Gen 1 Pokemon with Mew being inaccessible, so people kept coming up with crazy ways. Isn't Sea of Thieves from Rare? Is it? I don't know, I never played or really know anything about Sea of Thieves, but glad to hear that they are making good games, because I have not been informed of like good Rare games. For a while they were like stuck doing the Kinect stuff. You know, games made for Kinect because they belong to Microsoft and no one else wanted to make games for the Kinect. So they just made Rare do it, so they weren't really making full games. So yeah, good. I hope they make good games. Although I have no idea if like modern Rare shares any like major developers or anything with old school Rare. Maybe it's just a completely different studio now, no idea. I mean, I assume a lot of people left Rare when they got bought by Microsoft, because it was so fast from them making games that everybody liked to like nobody liking their games anymore. Although Star Fox Adventures was, you know, obviously before the sale, and that game's pretty mediocre. But it still has the Rare thing where there's like a lot of work put into it, and it's still really like polished and worked hard on. They never really had like awesome game design. They just put a lot of care into the games, I feel, was their main quality. Star Fox Adventures does kind of have that, but it is worse, I feel, than their output before that. Star Fox is pretty bad. At least I felt it was as a kid. It was the first game that I like sold pretty fast. We just bought that and sold it. Like, nope. Not good. So yeah, I think I'm all done with lines. I think I'm going to do like there's some shading here that I'm just going to bring this back when I do the shading. I'm going to go for colors now. But yeah, I have an idea of Sea of Thieves as like first person game where you're pirates, I guess. But that's the total of my knowledge about it. So let's take a look. Let's pull this to the foreground as well. Take a look at this reference. Okay. Tell you what, we're just gonna pull these colors and then we can see what we think about them. Is there something? No, it's wrong. And then he's, yeah, mostly just the forearms. I still haven't decided fully how I'm going to color this. Let's do the whole forearm for now. Then we did the hands, yeah, okay. I'll just go with the original colors for now and then see if I want to change stuff around. And we're coming in on my normal time, so I am going to just stick to this one. I was thinking of alternating, but I feel like it's better to have something, you know, closer to done in one than do two. Then I'll do the other one off screen because still have plenty of work time today. It's just kinda tiresome to be on stream the whole time. I need some wind down period. Just, you know, because how I am more of an introvert, I kinda need to just like listen to a podcast later and while I work. 2 hours is kind of what I'm capable of while being a social human being. But I need to listen to the soundtrack more, it's really good. So let's take his skin. Let's take his skin is a weird sentence. Let's not say that anymore. I have to zoom in to get his little tiny bits of finger. What else should be this stone? I think the rest will be silver and not the white. By the way that are usually colored this kind of line work is I use the the magic wand. I have all layers as what it's choosing, so it's taking the line work layer into consideration, and it's better than being in the line layer and then using it selecting only that layer, because if you have a flat background then it takes into consideration the alpha of the actual line, because there's a bit of kind of erased line, semi-transparent bit of line work. The one that doesn't care about that if it's only taking into consideration that layer. It only cares about the color, so it's like black, even if it's like this part, but it's barely black. You might not even be able to see on stream like here, because I didn't fully erase it, because I like the softer lines. I rarely use like completely black or white lines. Then it does take that into consideration if it's all layers. And then I used just a refine edge to just expand it a little bit, make the edges a little bit sharper, and then fill it in. Instead, I feel like maybe I should talk about process more. I just do these for now. Still haven't decided how I'm going to color his shoes. So yeah, bam. A little bit of blue here, so it's not quite the same. His skin's gray actually looks a little bit bluish, but it's not perfect gray. It's because the background is brownish. So what are we going to do? Missed a bit. What are we going to do for shirt, the base color of the shirt? I'll decide after the others. Let's do pants first. Again. Again missed a bit. There you go. I forgot to do his nose. And this, should this be red, white? I feel like white. This, by the way, you know, kind of. Actually, it's kind of low, I shouldn't move that, but anyway, I can do that right after closing stream. It's like a square, like, you know, one of those things that you turn with a key if you're tightening something in a robot, but it's also like the idea of him having like a square on the top of his sleeve is kind of like, I feel like it's a thing with greasers sometimes, but guys who smoke in general will sometimes roll up their sleeves and use like the rolled up bit of the sleeve to have a cigarette box in there. So that's what that is. Like it's not a literal cigarette box, but it's why that visual element is there. I feel like I can use the same as the hair, whatever. This is going to be a thing. I'll just use the pencil later to fill the rest in. Too many little bits and edges. There you go. I like the character from The Simpsons. If his name was Snake, he was about the cigarettes on his shoulders. Really? Like on the shoulders, or like on his... I'm assuming you mean the same as that. Let me check him. Yeah, I feel like that's like a stereotype. Simpsons Snake. It's going to have like solid Snake in the Simpsons style. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, pretty much. That guy. Yeah, probably cigarettes. This is a t-shirt. It's kind of weird on a t-shirt, but yeah. But not like a shirt. Then the best friend of the colorist, the behind brush. We're not worried about overlapping with other colors. And I get to just fill in the joints and all that. Okay. I kinda want to have like these parts be red and then add flames to them. Like this part of his shoes. I didn't okay that with the other character, but I like the idea. Well, we'll see. Let's make the soles. I don't know, same dark gray. Oh, I forgot to do these. Cool shoes. Might change the coloring scheme on that. We'll see. Alright, alright. This is like a generator. So I'll start with just a flat yellow and a flat orange, and then I'll add to the effect later when I'm shading. There you go. Okay, time to decide what the shirt color is, and that will be the stream. It's going to have flames, by the way, like Guy Fieri flames. So his predominant theme was green, and to a lesser extent blue, which is good. It adds some freshness to the gray and magenta. So let's select the whole thing. There you go. And let's try a good old turquoise. I don't know how you say it in English. Turquoise? I don't know, sounds weird. Anyway, it's not even that bluish weight. There you go. And I feel like this looks okay. But one thing that we can do is, instead of repainting it a million times, I can just do this. Ooh. And try every hue. Like this would be like a really common kind of tried and true color combination, but it feels a little bit more basic. Can commit more to the purplish. Go full green for maximum contrast. Yellow doesn't work well because the reactor in the middle needs to pop. But I'm kind of feeling the green blue. I feel like that's pretty much the way to go. Yeah. There you go. And now let's add some flames. This is like I'm pretty sure, the boss fight against the musician who is the person singing those other songs. Like pretty much all the lyric songs in the game. Now let's do some fiery flames. Here. Oops. There's like a Guitar Hero thing going on where you have to leap over the notes while you're fighting her. Alright. Those are the flames, and that is the overall design. There will be more texture and definitely, you know, the shading. But we are cutting it here. So yeah, that will be the stream. Usually lately I haven't felt like there's enough people. Let me see. Yeah, I don't feel like there's enough for a raid. Looks great, thanks. Yeah, I feel like you can just, unless, you know, I don't know, might as well raid rather than not. But only if there's like a mutual one. What happened to my favorites? The fuck? Favorites bar disappeared. I'm going to have to go the long way. Yes, Twitch. Alright. I forget the shortcut to bring you back. Yes, Twitch. Alright. Oh, so, no, that's me. Yeah, let's go to K Miller.
Every time I open.
I think just starting art, so let me drop you guys over there. Slash raid this guy boop. Is it working? Yeah, alright, yeah, just say hi to him. I don't know. No, there's not a lot of people, but yeah, let's just say hi and then I'll drop out. Thanks again for dropping by. See you guys around. Bye.